Hello there everyone, and welcome back to more Battlesector multiplayer. At least my second attempt at it, for I have made a little bit of additions to my Tiernet squad, depending on how you look on it, since I do have the means to add more than 1,000 points into my army, at least if I'm aiming for 1,000 point battles, and that gives me a little bit of wiggle room to kind of mix things up a little bit, as it were, at least as I develop this team more and get a little more experience on all the other maps to be had. For example, the minor additions I've had, or at least included, are just 2 Termagon squads in potential to replace with the, ideally they're to replace the gargoyles, and that would give me a heavier weapon, a little bit more points in reserve, and that would allow the second Thornback to be equipped with Devours, which will definitely help with its long range firepower. It still remains to be seen if I want to switch it over to a Tyrannofex or not. That is not out of the question, but at least this thing's going to have a lot more range potential while still being incredibly dangerous if it can somehow get in close. Although, with the upcoming map I have in mind there, let me see if I can find that quickly, that since I do have the convenience of picking the map I'm going to be going on, although I am also going to be doing other additional little tweaks, like I'm going to extend the turn timer to 10 on top of the turn duration to keep that on 300 seconds, which will be 5 minutes. Before, I had it at 200 seconds, which is just over 3 minutes, and I did think that was perfectly fine before, probably because I was spoiled with Blood Bowl 2 and how it does its turns, in that anytime you do a move order or action, it pauses the timer for you to enjoy this spectacle that is the violence. But in this case we don't have that convenience, and I am going to be keeping that at 300 seconds, and hopefully we don't need to extend it any more than that, since there is a bit of a strategy, there is a need to make sure there's a respectable amount of time to kind of hurry our opponents along, because you never know if they might deliberately stall. Otherwise, I am going to be trying to play on this, the Isles of however the hell you pronounce this damn thing. Titus, I'm going to go with there, I suppose. It's a pseudo asymmetric type of design there. Both maps are kind of the same on deployment, but when we go into the middle, it's going to drastically change a little bit, since I'm probably going to be more than likely going through this big opening here. I wish there was a way to zoom in without having to jump into the map. And they're more than likely, assuming their Space Marines, are going to be turtling up and enjoying the high ground vantage point. Especially since they do have like a little perch there to overwatch and shoot with everything. This is a map that justifies my fear with trying to go so melee centric, and of course having it on Exterminatus, but I am fine leaving it on Exterminatus for now, as that will encourage me to try to improve my play, refine my tactics a bit, as opposed to relying on them, well, helps if I get the map, dang it, as opposed to relying on having them forced to go into the middle of the map where, arguably, at least in the case of Blood Angels, it is not very advantageous for them, unless they have Assault Marines or melee units of their own. That would probably be the exception there. But, with that said, I am probably going to stick with my Gargoyle and my Thornback with the weak base weaponry, the Devours, and we'll see what happens there in that case, although I'm trying to remember what the exact weapon was for my Devours, or Thornback. It's just, let's see, Death Spitters, okay, there we go. Death Spitters was the upgrade weapon. I may have had that confused with the regular Devours, but that was the additional tweak. Either way, let's see if I can somehow give us a proper match that doesn't involve me dying in gratuitous, horrible fashion. Alright, we found ourselves another match, although I seriously doubt we're going to be lucky enough to find another new opponent, like we did with the first match. Although, first things first is try and figure out which ones are my inflated units so I can get rid of them. Since I already talked about sticking with... No, I don't want... I want my Hormagaunts. Give me back my Hormagaunts, thank you. And I think the plan is a pretty simple one. We're just going to be sending most of our units over on the right opening, so that way they can kind of swarm out relatively well. since all the other pathways don't really flow the best for me, if I'm completely honest. And then we'll see what happens there, although I'm very limited in where I can maneuver with that said too. And I think my gargoyles are probably going to maneuver around on the left flank just to see what's happening. I don't know if where I want my prime though, with that said. I like the idea of having it be with the rest of the units because that synaptic link can be useful. At the same time though, yeah, I think I'm going to have these 3 gaunts and at least 1 warrior go up this pathway to see if there's a flanking opportunity. And this is kind of going to be my middle point, if nothing else. I'm really anxious for this match though, at the very least, because this feels like even more of me being an underdog than I did in the first match. And at least there was no elevation for me to worry about having to run around and get shot at for free, basically. Although here's a little different. If only just a little bit. Since again, all these tight nooks and crannies having this weaving way, kind of weave my way through is going to be annoying to try and figure out. But at least the first turn can be relatively quick. And I do probably want to move some units over there too. This might be a little bit too aggressive, especially since I don't really have a whole lot of room for maneuvering said units. Not until I get out in the open, which could very easily be a death sentence. Yeah, where do I put the gargoyles? Because they can fly, they can literally go anywhere they wish. Which is probably why I use them for providing a little bit of swarm tactics for these ones here, if they do encounter something useful. And there's no point overwatching, as there isn't really a whole lot to overwatch. Especially when I'm sprinting like this. The only ones that could benefit from the overwatch are of course my warriors and my 1 thornback. And I don't want to move the camera for fear of missing out on any movement indicators. And I'm going to try to get a count on how much movement icons we get, since I don't know if my opponent's actually seen or got warning about all the movement here or not for my units. Otherwise, let's see. It's probably going to be important to know my evasion, which of course is getting buffed up. So 1 there, 2. Again, I don't know if they're using all their movements. 3 over there. Interesting. 4. Yeah, it looks like they could still sprint, and that would cause another indicator, making it really confusing to know which unit's which. Alright, so they're going wide in the back. It looks like I almost worry that they're just going to sit in the corner there a little bit, realizing what the game mode is. And it's hard. I think a lot of these indicators are also units moving from the left there. Either way, if this becomes like a corner camping, like it potentially could be, then that just justifies me changing the game mode. And I think I heard jump packs. I don't know if that's true or not, since I kind of was talking a little bit too much there. Not like there's a lot else to really observe just yet. Not until the next turn or two. It's just a shame I can't see what the turn timer's like. Alright, so everything's advanced, everything's moved. So there was nothing that really moved over here from what I could tell. Maybe something jumped there, but... let's see if I can at least get a little bit of vision. I really am tempted to move forward a bit more, because in theory the elevation would give me more cover, but probably not going to do that yet. And I think I'll have these guys just roam around over here, and we'll see what we can get. And I have 1 movement left, so if I do spy anything, at least I have the building to cover me. One movement and 1 action point. Don't think I'm going to move you yet, although it looks like my gaunt's not going to go very far, with that said. Let me just provide a little bit more vision, because I know there's something there, I just don't know what kind of range they have. And I am a little bit worried getting too aggressive, not knowing what we're up against yet. I think because of that I'm going to play a little more cautious, as there isn't really much need, and this will give me an opportunity for my slower units to kind of catch up. That's the thought process, at least. And I don't need... Yeah, let's have you look straight there, because at least then you can... Even though line of sight could be an argued issue here, I can at least see everything going on. Not going to be very good shots, but... better than nothing, I guess. And ideally, if I can get a window for it, maybe I can go around this corner here with these gaunts. That's going to be a tricky part, knowing how aggressive I can go until I get vision. Which is a lot of the main reason why I want these gargoyles to begin with. Just the only thing they have going for them compared to other units is... Okay, Inceptors rather. They're going to be interesting. And there's only 3 of them, but... If I remember correctly, if they use their jump packs, it hurts their accuracy though. So doing hit and runs may not be the most reliable strategy. So they got basic bolt rifles. And they have assault bolters, so basic weaponry so far. All I need is intel, and then we'll work from there. We do have units climbing up the wall, which I gotta be mindful of and ready for. Another squad over there. So another kind of death ball of sorts, which isn't too much of a surprise, but any free shots, especially on the 3-man squads, can be really good. Since it's easier to overpower a sanguinary priest that way if they have one. As their healing is not nearly as effective if I can focus my fire on single units. I just don't know if I can get reliable shots on the Inceptors though. I do have a Phantom Thrope to provide a little bit of cover. Their own choke point can restrict their fire some. I just have to be smart with how I move. Because where is he? There's almost no way I can engage him. And I want to use the heart piece to maneuver. I want to know what it is we're up against. Now, gotta be mindful of my movement. I have 3 points left. So if I go here, I can back up easily into safety. Absolutely nothing. Which makes me wonder if I advance forward or not. That is what I'm honestly wondering. I do need to move some gaunts without a doubt. And I think these guys can move diagonally. They're not going to get a really good shot though. And if I have this unit to kind of provide vision too. A little bit early warning. So everything is here. We got Hellblasters. This is going to be a very valuable turn for me, just to know what they have. 2 Assault Marines. I don't know how to do the math quickly in my head, but we are missing a command unit of sorts. Now, is there a way I can shoot them? Since I am all but safe here, I just gotta be mindful of their jump packs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can come here. They probably see me too, so I gotta be mindful of what cone of vision or what vision they might have there, as that can be really important for overwatching and other abilities. Now, where is my prime with that said? Because extra evasion is a big deal. And I don't know, they're probably just going to corner camp quite a bit, but I got that. I know what their composition is, which is really useful. It's just group it up, that might be a bit of an problem. And I have 130 seconds left. And this is basically 6 range, so they don't know what I'm utilizing yet. I do wonder if I can safely go over here or not, because they shouldn't be able to jump over terrain, right? That just increases their movement. I don't know how to best handle this because of that lack of knowledge. I feel like they can't jump over the terrain, and as a result they're probably just going to avoid me. I feels like is what's going to happen. Now the big question, cover or not? Well, really I shouldn't, because I should be alright. They are pretty limited in where they can go, or what they could shoot. And I have 70 seconds left to figure this out. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. And actually I'll have the Femsorps up front. Maybe they could take a few hits. Hellblasters are going to get a bit of an awkward shot. This is, but again, this is awkward. I don't know how to best engage this. If I can get my entire squad in there within striking distance at the same time, then I can overwhelm them. That's a bit of a big if though, given the awkward layout of the map. But I got valuable intel and I don't think they've seen very much of my squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't even think they see the Femsorps and the Gaunts here. That's something I'll have to figure out over time. The only thing they probably seen was my gargoyle. Well, actually, they may not have. Well, they've seen the one gargoyle here at least. And that gave. And this gargoyle alone probably was worth its points just because we know what we're up against. We just don't know the commander or what points are left over. Now, it's still a question on how they're going to move. Okay, they're keeping into the corners. I can work with this. Because if the Hellblasters are congested behind a bunch of Marines, then the Thornback can almost charge in here. And that will mean they have to spend a turn just reorganizing their Hellblasters to get a good line of sight. And that might not work very well for them. We're going to try and use... Oh, I forgot about these Gaunts too, dang it. I forgot about them. They could be useful though. They could charge in there, maybe. They could do some damage. A little bit unfortunate. They could have been a good trap opportunity. And if they survive... there was a respectable chance they survived against bolt rifles, dang it. That was a mistake on my part. They could have gone here and they would have been perfectly safe. And that was, a lot of that was probably due to the fact that I had Overwatch It is for melee units, which... Okay, they can't jump. I was curious about that. It does hurt their accuracy, though. Because when I remember using them that one time, it didn't seem like they jumped that far. So the gargoyle is still alive, which means it can take a shot and it can blind one of them. And they don't really have a lot of movement left to fight. And these guys without a doubt are going to die. Since that was how much movement? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like there's all 6 of their movement right there. And again, I'm gonna have to rotate the camera. And sadly now, yeah, the Hellblasters I don't think are gonna be able to do much, but if the Thornback threatens to charge the intercessors on the right here from my camera angle, then the Hellblasters might feel forced to stay along this choke point with overwatches or something. Because then otherwise the Thornback should be able to take a lot of fire with their battle line tactics burnt. It may not get the benefit from the extra melee damage, but at the very least it should be able to absorb hits. I just gotta get units in here to kind of threaten them. Now, they're probably going to overwatch. The overwatch is not going to be very effective because of them blocking each other, and I could maybe use this wall to help mitigate some of the shots too. Never mind my gargoyles in a good position to burn their overwatches, hopefully. That's another thing I'm really going to have to learn is how exactly... Oh, and they auto-ended their turn with overwatches, I think. Because that was a lot of overwatches at once. Now, I want to use the gargoyle to absorb the shots. Do I bring up? Well, that's fine. That is almost better, but it does give away the prime. Is the caveat there. Okay, I want to see how much Overwatch I can burn. Because we know the Assault Marines are going to be annoying. So I kind of want to protect them, but dang it, you're not making it easy. Oh well, let's just back up then to safety. I did burn one of their Overwatches, which is good enough. And maybe we get some good defense for this one. Not even a single death, that is good by me. Now we'll get the Thorn back in there. We'll have to see what this Gargoyle can do in a moment. And we'll slice and dice a bunch of Inceptors. Nom 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 nom. Now Warriors. I would love them to stay in the middle for the evasion buff. Since they don't, because if I have the Warriors here, they're all but safe. They can't really be touched, I want to argue. Besides the Assault Squad, which hopefully they'll be relatively protected against. Now, I want to save that Overwatch, though. Because I have so many other ways to kill this thing. I'm worried charging burns all my movement. It's a good experiment, but I don't think it's necessary here. So we're just going to attack, and then move forward, maybe. And they are going to probably throw grenades. And sadly, this little fella isn't going to do a whole lot. He could debilitate really well. Since I can't move here, I might as well fly here, see if I could just blind them.
Taking fire.
Blinding shot there. Can't really do much here, so might as well have you in being protected. Oh, can you imagine how great that would be if I could charge? I don't want to charge yet because that means they just back up on me. And I do not want to do that yet. But is there a way I can do some damage? Because I have yet to see their command unit. Okay, they have a basic lieutenant. Is what I'm seeing. I have one movement left. Alright, take your shots, then back off. Then we'll have gaunts and everything somewhat in position, maybe. Because I am going to have a lot of evasion potential with these units. I just want the Femstorps to kind of tank a lot of these hits. And I have 40 seconds, so keep that in mind. And then let's have some overwatches at the ready, shall we? No, I don't want to go there, because that's going to be a little problematic. And honestly, I should have had the warriors here. I didn't realize the Femstorps were not exactly in the best position. And 4 seconds. I guess we're fine as is. Everything's basically did what it needed to. Just a lot of my units are about to die, probably. They have a lot of assault marines, 4 of them plus a lieutenant, which we can fight incredibly well if they jump in there. And I do have cover to help in the Femstorps. I'm okay if they die. And this maybe wasn't the best shot, but we have evasion, we have synapse. And hopefully, any units trying to come through his crevice is going to get a little bit of cover penalties against them for my units being in the way. If they try and go against the... If they try and shoot at the Prime or the Warriors. Okay, grenade. That's a good way to help negate it. But, joke's on them. Even though I lost half the squad, they still need to invest more in that. Although they're getting really good rolls with that said. Barely nearly squad wiped that squad. Killed a handful of them. Good way to get some battle gauge going at the very least. And hopefully they're hindered by cover a bit. Sadly it's going to kill them regardless, isn't it? Nope. Interestingly, they're just throwing another grenade, which honestly benefits me. I would honestly argue that benefits me, since they could have used that for next turn when I potentially am in melee with them, and that's basically a guaranteed hit. Guaranteed damage, and then a good follow-up attack can wipe out the entire squad. Although I would like to zoom out without unlocking the camera. That'd be kind of nice to see what the hell's going on. Okay, they're getting ready to jump with everything. What's the movement looking like? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They would be in the middle of everything if they want to jump over here. Of course, having unlocked that camera made it impossible to really know what's going on here. They hit the Prime, but at the same time, it's not like they can get anyone else in there. That's the thing they gotta be mindful of. So long as he's still alive, he's still incredibly dangerous. Although with the amount of shots they have, that could still be a threat. And the Hellblasters are going that way, which is fine. Well, not all of them, but still. They got respectable shots there, I think. Alright, what are you shooting at? With cover, no less. If enough of these survive, they would be great for marking the Hellblasters. I just gotta be careful of the Thornback being blocked by the charge. So they should not be able to reach the Alpha or the Prime. And they are engaging the Tyranids. Okay, so now that got... Oh, I see what they're doing now. I see what's... Now that opened up space for jump in there. And that is likely going to kill the Prime now. Unless it has additional evasion to help protect. That is unfortunate. I want the Femsorps to help protect that, but I did not consider their movement. The AoE poisoning, I wonder, they are taking increased range damage. I wonder if that spore counts as ranged. If I do that. I sadly lose all my abilities, but all this cover is going to be useful. Oh, they shot at the one... What did they shoot at? Oh, just the Gaunt. The Thornback could be amazing here, actually, if I'm good about this. Because the Warriors are going to survive. They need to kill something, though, if they want to get Snowball out of control here. Femsorps can poison all them, which may not mean much. It's a lot of damage, but unless I can follow it up, it doesn't mean... It doesn't mean... Actually, the Thornback could be great here, too. And it increases their damage. Now, Thornback, I would love to go over here. 3... I would like to kill the majority of these units, ideally. And we have means to do it. I just don't know if what's actually required for them to be pushed back for the Thornback charge. That's what I'm wondering. Because that's my thinking. Charge them, push them back if that's at all possible. But it's probably not going to.
By the blood.
And they are not marked, which might be good enough. That would be good for an action point there too, but... Ooh, is it possible my Gargoyle can finish that off? Because Optimal Range 2. They're taking bonus damage. And I am getting a little bit... Yeah, this could just kill this squad. I do have to be mindful of their follow-up attack, though. Yeah, and I don't have an action point for that. Getting in there might not be very helpful, but... Oh, dang it, I didn't realize I would be disengaging. That is unfortunate. That ruins that a tiny bit. So that's going to hit 3 squads. I am all for that. It's going to hurt like hell though. Oh, I can't charge all of them, never mind. I'm curious what happens here. Oh, I gotta keep in mind that turn timer's still going. That's something I did not consider very much. I would like to charge, but I don't think I'm going to get to charge. And I have 4 movements, so let's use that. And then do some damaging, because that sounds like fun right now. Not a lot of damage, but probably was not worth doing that anyway. And that is everything. Now, I'm worried that their strafing run or whatever is going to start coming in down now. If the primates survived, this would be a lot better position for me, but I did not account for their movement and the amount of actual fodder I had, especially since I failed to turn around with these warriors. That was another thing I could have done too. And none of these guys are marked, although if they try and run, they are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, here comes the strafing run. I already knew that. I would have loved to have been able to return that favor last turn. But that was probably my biggest mistake, not really covering the prime the best. One attack's not a big deal. It's letting the gaunts get killed, who were going to be a bit of fodder and cover. And not counting how much movement they could spend. Ah yeah, good old crack grenades. I forgot those things actually existed there a bit. And sadly, since they aren't marked, they're free to shoot. And that was enough to kill the Thornback, sadly, despite the amount of shots that they missed. So now I think this is all but a loss now. If the Prime was able to get its 3 attacks in, we could have demolished one of these squads. And that would have been... yeah, it could have demolished at least one full squad and still have an attack available to attack someone else. Never mind the command point. Could have been useful too. Now... you burnt both your action points there. Sadly, this is probably going to die because they were not in melee. Due to the charge that I did. I thought the charge could have done a lot more. I was kind of hoping to mark up the Hellblasters, but no. And the Hellblasters are going to shoot at the warriors now. This is all but over. Unfortunately. Now, I would have liked one of the warrior squads to survive. But yeah, I honestly feel like if that Prime had stayed alive, this would have been a different story. Just because the command points would have been significant, its melee attacks, and never mind the extra evasion and other stats it would have given me in that process. And of course, having these gaunts well, actually I managed to charge both these units anyway. That still did a notable amount of damage. And we did clear out a lot of them. What is it? We killed 3 Assault Marine squads. The Inceptors died relatively easily, but they were kind of exposed a bit. And then what would be left? Well, we would have had all their melee units marked, and sadly I don't have the numbers to mark all of them either. Which makes that a bit problematic. And sadly it doesn't look like I can melee them. As much as I would love it. Are they still debilitated? Yeah, they are. Not that it means much at this point.
Push them back.
Because sadly that didn't even kill them off. And because I'm marked, you're gonna get are you gonna get stay there? I don't know. Again, a lot of things like the suppression, the fallback, and even charging, I don't know how to best utilize them. Which unfortunately is not very good here. And it would be nice if I can get a kill here, but unlikely, I think. Oh, never mind, we wiped them all out. On top of 50% surge. Now, we can at least murder the Hellblasters. It'll at least be fun to see how much we can kill before we die.
The enemy is closed in.
Let's see, you're considered marked. Now let's mark them and kill them too. Nom 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 nom. Still very likely going to die, doesn't really have the health to take these hits. Especially with the Hellblast. Yeah, let's give you your armor, because I don't think you're going to be able to do much else. Because I believe the Lieutenant could just straight up kill my warriors on his own. But I think that was the biggest deciding factor, just losing the Prime, just because I didn't have enough fodder, or at least enough of a wall, to keep him safe. I would love to have seen how much closer this would have been if the Prime was able to at least stay alive with half health. Because again, he might have had enough for his second command ability, which was the Banshee Bombardment. And I don't need to tell you how amazing that would have been. Yeah, he's just straight up killing them. It was worth a try. If anything, this is a good witness to how easily I can kill their units. It's just a matter of having enough units to actually kill them. Or at least really debilitate them. Because let's see, Phantom Storms are not all that scary. They have more grenades, which they're probably going to throw on the Phantom Thropes, if there were. Because disengaging is not all that helpful, I think, for them. And the Commander alone is going to be able to clean up, even if these Phantom Thropes are actually going to survive this turn and maybe even the next one, because of how crippled the Hellblasters are. The Lieutenant alone is probably going to murder them, if I don't have a way to go after him safely. Because these Phantom Thropes, as you can see, are not really much of damage dealers, are they now? A good learning experience, if nothing else. And of course, if my Phantom Throp was actually closer, I was more I was more afraid of the intercessors and hellblasters and didn't really consider the damage of the assault marines because I didn't really factor in their additional melee charge ability that allowed them to do more damage. I think my prime would have survived 2 assault marine charges without that 50% buff. And of course every one of those shots had to be a hit too. Not a lot of damage because there's only 2 of them, of course, but still. I would have liked to see a few of those miss. With the evasion and just them not having the highest accuracy. Alright, that... Okay, one of them died. Aw, I figured that he would... I figured I'd be able to keep him from disengaging. That's a shame. That was my whole thought process doing that, is I thought I could tie at least these 2 up. Oh well, it was a nice quick match, I guess. A good learning experience, but it shows I need to learn a lot more of the nuances of this game. Since I want to believe I could I want to believe that Phantom Sword could have at least marked those 3 squads. At least the Hellblasters probably would have been able to get away since I couldn't melee them, but dang it. There's a lot of little nuances to figure out. And hopefully we can improve on that for next time, because I honestly feel like if the Prime was able to survive that turn, this could probably be a much more tighter, if not a completely different kind of game. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I will see you next time.